Hi everybody, I think I'm live. Tell me whether you can see me or not. It's been quite a trek to be with you, and thank you for so patiently waiting. There's been a lot of you just online wondering what on earth was going on, so welcome. Thank you for being with me today. In Greece, it's just the 1st of March, so happy March. And I felt it was an important time, the last day of February, last day we're going to get a 29th of February for a few years. So I thought this was a significant time to communicate, since so much is happening around us. So thank you for confirming that you're online with me. And thank you to those of you who come online later on. So, what's happening? What does March look like? What's going on? Yeah, we've got this coronavirus. We've got this economic challenges coming. We've got climate changes happening all around us. What's going on? And how do you, how can we navigate these turbulent astrological waters? What can we do? So, the first thing to say is that this month, March, we're going to have a very big focus of energy on planets in Earth signs. On the 5th of March, we've got Venus going into Taurus. So it's joining Uranus in Taurus. Uranus in Taurus until 2025. So we've got a long time of Uranus in Taurus, but Venus joining that energy. So what's this about, and what can we do about it? So, as always with astrology, we always say as astrologers, Uranus is a wild card. It's a surprise. Saturn, you can usually see what the lessons are likely to be. But with Uranus, you're taken by left field. It's like, wow, didn't expect that. So, I don't think we could have expected that this coronavirus would have such a big impact on the economy. Yeah, it's like, wow, how did that happen? And it's happened very quickly. And I think what we are realizing is how interdependent we are. That we can put up as many boundaries and fences and things up between one another artificially. And this virus will just float in the air. We're coming to a period by 2025 when we're going to get fire and air really coming strongly. So this is just a taste of how powerful the air energy is, because you can quarantine people for a month or more, but what are you going to do with them if many of them maybe don't have symptoms? What are we going to do? How can we contain the things that we can contain, and what needs to be free? So we're interdependent. I think that's the first thing we really have to see. And that fear-mongering is not going to help us. So, the first thing to say is that I think that we can help one another. I think we can help one another positively, and I think that we can help one another not help one another. Yeah, it can go the other way. So let's look at this energy of Taurus, because I think Taurus is strong for the month of March particularly, because Venus would rule money. So Venus in Taurus has to do with money, and Uranus in Taurus has to do with money, our economy, our exchange of value. And Uranus also has to do with air travel, anything to do with anything that is airborne and air travel. So of course, sadly, the airline industry has been hit and maybe will be hit more during this time. Yes, I'll bring the Pleiadians later. Let's remind me. Thank you for somebody else reminding people, please would you like this live stream if you do like it. I would appreciate it, because somehow it helps with the YouTube algorithm. So I think it's important that we realize that we can help one another, and mentally we can help one another, because what you think in your mind is going to happen, very often it does. Yeah, you kind of like draw it to you. That's not to make you more frightened, but if we can see that we can support one another through prayers, and at the same time, what can we do practically? What are the practical things that we can do? So Uranus in Taurus, I think that there are going to be some bumps in the economy, for sure. And we can see it coming. So what can you do about this? Well, first of all, see what the politicians are doing. Yeah, what are they doing? So in Hong Kong, for example, they are giving $10,000 to every person over 18. So what does that mean? Well, what it means to me is that they're printing money, because just to be given $10,000, as nice as it may be to the people in Hong Kong, but what does it mean? It means that the powers that be are printing money. So what that means over time is that the money that you have is just going to nothing. So it's important for those of you who do have money, planting a lemon tree, that's great. Planting trees, growing things, anything that is productive that can feed people. Food may be an issue. Water, gold and silver, precious metals. They're going to be valuable. Anything where you have some kind of land that you can grow things on, and even if you don't have very much land, can you learn to grow things? Can we learn to be self-sufficient more? We've become so dependent on the system, and the system may not be sustainable. It's not to be frightened. It's going to bring out the warriors in us. It can bring out the best in us, because we can be very lazy. Yeah, you're just on the nipple of the system. Yeah, and you kind of get used to it. You get it drugged. And this is a wake-up call. Right, how can we work together? The way I don't know how it was in Australia, but all these millions of animals that died, they matter. The animals matter. Our ecosystems matter. Everything matters. And so I feel, have to create some kind of a new system, new systems. Because this one is failing, guys. Our health system is beginning to fail. It's certainly in the UK, the NHS, wonderful system. But it can't survive if it gets a huge influx of, I don't know, some kind of a virus, whether it's the coronavirus or something else, how will it survive? So we have to become stronger in ourselves and help those who are weaker. That has to be the resolve. So, and also work with our strengths. Some of us have got green fingers. Maybe you have. I'm not brilliant with the green fingers. I do talk to my plants, but I'm not, it's not my strong suit. It's not something I know a lot about. So what do you know a lot about? What are you interested in? Maybe it's solar energy. Maybe it's the recycling. Maybe, what is it that you can contribute, that is your system, that you want to build? What do we want to build? So Uranus in Taurus is potentially the breakdown of the economic system that we've got used to. Doesn't mean it's going to break down all in one go, because I don't think the authorities are going to let it if they can help it. But learning how you can be self-sufficient in the meantime, or connecting with a community who is. Studying. Yes, your plants do hear you. Yes, they do. Horses, animals, construction, new modes of construction. So we have to somehow anticipate that there is a strong possibility that there will be great turbulence in our economic system. And what can we do, the people who are wanting to awaken? Great, a herbalist there, Lainey, fabulous. We can use the herbs. How can we strengthen our immune systems? Great comments, thank you guys. Yes. Somebody tapping into their lifetimes as being a shaman. Fantastic. So, how can you strengthen your immune system? Good relaxation, good rest, sleep. Not being drawn into the fear. Meditation. Good thoughts. Wanting to help others. Talking to the animals, to the trees. Start the thing in motion now, so that you yourself can be strong and you can lead and you can help. Yeah. We're going to come to a new moon in Aries. We're coming to this Aries energy. 21st of March, we've got the equinox. Aries energy is about you taking on your leadership role in your way. You have something that you can offer, only you can offer. And we can light one another up. You light me up. And thank you for liking the video. And thank you to those who do give to my channel. I really appreciate it. Really helps me to be able to do more of these videos for you. So we're going to be looking at values. This is the next step, because we've looked to money and materialism. Yeah, I have one car, I'd like another. I have this, I want more. The animalistic self is always wanting more for self, or maybe just a small community. But we can see now what happens in one part of our globe. If millions of people in China are quarantined and can't get out and can't work, it affects all of us. All of us. So, think of ways in which you can stay calm. Maybe it's about being occupied with something that you're passionate about, that you know you can make a difference with. And always try to remember, I don't always remember, to say a blessing before you drink something. Before you eat something, just say a blessing of thanks. It makes a difference. every little thing you do makes a difference. Everything you think makes a difference. Everything. And in career. So every bit, every part now, we are one body, one mechanism. One bit begins to fail, it all begins to fail eventually. So we're not going to allow that to happen, are we? We're not going to allow that to happen. So thank you for liking. Gosh, the likes suddenly went up. Thank you for liking the video. So as we can see, we've got all this Capricorn energy, which is about boundaries and walls and divisions and immigrants and refugees. And what are we doing with all this? Where do we need boundaries? And where can we see that boundaries aren't going to work anymore? This is a wake-up call now to what is important. What are your values? Many people realize they win the lottery and they've got all this money and they're no happier after a year or two. They don't feel happy. So happiness has not correlated with the amount of money you have. Yes, money helps in certain circumstances. Yes, it does. I'm not saying that you don't need a baseline. But if we have that baseline, the rest, what are we going to do with our time? What are we going to do with our talents? Taurus is about your gifts, your talents. What are you going to do? What are your talents? What are your gifts? And what do you value? These are the things. My name is Bracha now, yes. I'm no longer Barbara. I'm going to do a different video about the name change because that's another story. It's an important one and I will share it. But it's about not labeling yourself. The name labels you and you become something. You identify with something that isn't really the deep you, deeper inside. But poor people are not happy too much either. Well, there's a balance. But let's say we had a universal wage where every person had their basics met. How about that? There is talk of this anyway. A universal wage where your living accommodation, your food, your very basics, not the extras, but your basics are met. So, we're looking at, with this Taurus energy, we must not panic. Absolutely, this is not about panicking. Right? The more calm and the stronger you stay, the more you can think more clearly. When you're in a panic, you're not very functional. And you certainly don't come up with good ideas and good thoughts. But when you breathe, and you remember to relax and you find ways of relaxing, then you can come up with brainwaves, something that's useful, even in the midst of a crisis. Yes, some of you, I'm sure, are better than others in a crisis, for sure. These are important questions. So, the two big questions are here. What do you value? What do you value personally? And what do we value as a global community? Because we're global now, right? It's just how it is. We are a global community. This virus is showing us that. So we can have a virus that knocks us all out, and we can have a virus that builds us all up. I believe this. All the outer planets and Venus and Mars are in air, or in water and earth signs. Water, the connectedness. Eventually, you try and keep water out. It's not easy. We've seen the flooding recently, terrible flooding in the UK. Again, it's difficult to keep water out. Keeps coming. And earth, water and earth, these are the energies we're working with. So, what are your values? What's important to you? It's not having another million in the bank. Truly it's not. If it were that, then celebrities and people in power, many of them wouldn't be resorting to drugs and alcohol and all these things. If it were that. So it's not about more. It's about being selective about what is important to you. First of all, it's your personal values. So for me, it's my friends, my family, my online family. I care about you guys too. It's not just the small nuclear family now. It's bigger than that. Bigger. I think we have to think bigger in terms of family and be ready to help the so-called stranger in our midst. To be ready to help those who need help. So, what are your values? Okay, guys? Love, hope, faith, freedom. Taking care of people. What's really super important to you? And that isn't to say you can't have some material values. I'm not saying they're not there. But I'm saying let's get them into an alignment. And then what do we want as a wider world in terms of our values? What do we value? What is important? Yes, why is there more depression? Why are more people on antidepressants than ever before? We're numbed out. This is about really, you are taking your junk with you. Where are you going to take it? What are you going to do about it? Children, animals, empathy, love, caring. So this Capricorn energy, it's about creating tangible systems. This is not pie in the sky stuff. It's practical solutions. Practical solutions. Having a healthy planet. We can see that we've damaged our ecosystem and that everything matters. Everything from the tiniest little mollusk to the biggest amongst us. So it's going to be some hard work ahead. All this Capricorn energy is, what hard work are we willing to do? Too much screen, watching. But as long as a result of the watching or the listening, you're going to do something constructive and positive for yourself and others, then it's done something of value. Okay? So, values. Really think about your values. If you had to write down your 3 top values, what would they be? Healing ourselves, good health. It's certainly one of mine. Then I'd want everybody to be healthy and well. Yeah, it's no fun if you haven't got people to play with. So we want people to be well. Yeah, I'm sorry, Mike, you lost your job because of this coronavirus outbreak. Yeah, it's difficult. So, values. Also, we're looking now at what kind of an economic system, exchange of goods and services, value, do we want to create? For me, I definitely want this universal wage. I would definitely want to have a healthcare system that is proactively working, where we take responsibility for ourselves and we are rewarded for the things that we do proactively. I think medicine can take huge leaps with the technology coming, but we are really working with vast changes of wake-up calls. We can't sit and stay in the same stew. I say that for myself, and sometimes I feel frightened. Sometimes it's like, whoa, but it's okay, because unless you get shaken up, if you're constantly sitting in the same chair and you're in front of the television, you're not necessarily seeing something new. But if you're learning, if you're studying, if you're developing your talents and your gifts. So now the other thing, one is your values. So begin to think about your values, what's important to you, and what you want for the value of our planet. It's about valuing every little thing. That's one. And the other side of the equation is Taurus, Uranus, Taurus energy, Venus in Taurus, all this energy of Taurus coming in, Aries, Taurus, has everything to do with what are my gifts and what am I willing to work at to develop those gifts. All right, what are those gifts? I'm learning Greek, I'm loving it. It enables me to communicate more clearly with the people around me, to be able to give maybe some more light, some more help. The words that you use, Mercury retrograde, really think careful. Think carefully, can't even speak now, about what the words you use. The words you use are so powerful. They can create worlds. So what are the words you're using? So I think very much it's a respect for all of life. All of life. And to begin to think that we are in, I hate to say this, but in a way I have to say it, the economy is at great risk. And in 2008, we nearly had a complete collapse of the system. I'm not saying we're going to have a collapse of the system, but I am saying that things are very precarious. So I'm going to say again, if you have any money, physical money, don't have too much physical in a bank. Have some cash or something outside of a bank for living expenses in case we have some kind of an emergency to deal with. Have a little bit of extra food and dried things so that you can help others. Yeah, it's not about all for you, but just so that if things get difficult, that you might be able to help other people. So these are the practical things to do, but also to look at now, what is it, the world that we want to create as this one crumbles? All right, so it's not about being afraid. It's about looking at the strong possibility that this is crumbling and what can we do together. Our health system, our education system, our social systems, all of it is coming up for grabs. The less than 1% that have most of the wealth, how are we going to use the wealth that we have? And what is abundance? What is wealth? What is it over and above money? Yeah. Isn't it a joy to be able to have water, clean water to drink? There you go. Disinfect your bills. Thank you, Alexander. Use delivery groceries. Get some dried foods. Yeah, don't point the finger too much. Decide what you're going to do. Aries. We're coming into Aries energy. Aries is the head and rules the brain. It's about really an awakening for our brains. Yeah? We can create new synapses. We can create new ways of seeing our world. This is a wonderful, as difficult as this time is, and it is a difficult time. There's no question about that. These are difficult times. My heart goes out to so many who are going through tremendous hardships. Good, healthy food. Yep. Food banks all over the UK helping hungry people. Yeah, having empathy for the less fortunate people. Get back to the basics. This is very much about what are the basics. What's really important? What really matters now? Is it one another? Are we going to put one another first? You've got to work on yourself as well. All right? Got to work on self, to your best of your ability. Because if you're not strong, it's difficult to help others. So some of us are physically strong. I always admire these men they come in, and I'll just say to I had a plumber the other day, I asked him if he could move my very heavy couch, and he just moved it as if it was, as if it was a balloon. For me, I can't move it an inch. So I laughed with him. I said, you know what? I said, next lifetime, I'd like to come back as a man with some nice testosterone. And he laughed. He said, I'd like to come back as a woman. I wouldn't have to move and carry so many things. So the grass is always greener. But it's important to be able to have a laugh, to be able to see some funny things amidst the difficulties, because when you awaken those laughter genes, you enable the brain to come up with new solutions. So, yeah. So brain activations. What can you do to activate brain? There's a lot of talk about heart energy, and absolutely heart energy is important, but often too much emotional energy doesn't provide us with the solutions that we need. We've got to use the brain as well. All right, the brain is important. I think it's been downgraded a little lately, but it's important. What are the ideas? What are these ideas that are new ideas that we can come up with that will take us and build us a better world, better communities, ones where we are connected with our neighbours and our communities, where we're not so isolated? These are all things that I'm seeing. Please like the video. I would appreciate it. I know many of you have, but we've got 777, no more, suddenly gone up online today. Thank you. It's 1:34 a.m. on the 1st of March here in Greece. So we're coming to a beginning of a new month, but this month is an important month because we have what is known as 0 degrees of Aries. And that, if you like, is the beginning of the astrological clock. It's the start. So it's an opportunity for a reset, a restart, a reboot. So how are you going to reboot yourself? And how do you want to reboot our world? So as frightening as these things are, it's good for us to see how interdependent we are. It's good. It used to be that we were much more separate. A country was separate from another country. But we're not anymore. Yeah. Thank you for liking, and thank you for contributing. I appreciate it in every way. Every comment that you make, everything that you say, everything that you think, it makes a difference to me. Thank you. Thank you. And the big thing about Taurus has to do with gratitude. You want to hear from the P's. This is the blessing on water. Thank you. So let's be, thank you very much, Greta. Thank you. Let's be really aware of, yes, interdependence. It really needs to be highlighted. Highlighted. That's what this coronavirus is awakening, is that look how we affect one another. So we must value one another and see the goodness in one another. Everybody's got goodness inside of them. Everybody. I don't care what anybody says. You have got goodness inside of you. We might have some behavior patterns that are difficult, that we contend with. We all do. Thank you again, Greta. Goodness gracious. Thank you. So begin to think once again. I know I say it again and again. Nursing homes have a shortage of staff because of the economy and money. Yeah, our weakest, when our weakest are not being taken care of, we do not have a healthy society. So, what are you grateful for? And there are so many blessings. When I do my gratitudes every morning or sometimes in the evening, depends, I find myself, I'm typing away because there's so much. And when you get into this habit, you notice, thank you very much, Courtney Lauren, thank you. You notice how much you do have. And you begin to feel filled up and you begin to see, gosh, I've got a lot that I could give here. Wow, I've got more than I realized. Hard to have time when you have a toddler, Natasha, but maybe that toddler brings you a lot of joy. Yeah, solfeggio tones can be very healing. There are many ways to heal. And Taurus also rules the senses. So it's about awakening the senses and using them for healing. I hope you find my paintings healing and nourishing. Music can be healing and nourishing. Thank you, Sham Witter. Thank you, thank you. Tastes can be healing and nourishing. Smells, an aroma. I smelled a beautiful flower today and it was, oh, what did that cost me? Nothing. I hugged a lovely friend today. Didn't cost. Thank you, Kayla. Thank you. And it's important to really give thanks. The thank you is such a big thing. Yeah, and this Taurian energy really encourages you. Thank you, Starseed Healing and Tarot. Thank you. It really encourages you to just see and feel and hear and touch and taste everything you do have. Because when you start with the feeling that you've got something and you're not empty, then you've got something you feel you can give. Yeah, you're coming with something that's filled up. When you're starving, it's like you just want to grasp at everything. But when you've had a good meal, you're satiated, you're calmer. You're not fighting for something. Yeah. So this is how I see this. I really see that there is so much richness in what's happening. And we must not be called into fear and fear-mongering. If you feel yourself getting into that, bring yourself into the present moment. Unless, of course, you do have an absolute emergency. I am not saying that there aren't rare occasions when there is an emergency that needs the fear response. But very often the fear response is something that we are thinking that is not appropriate in that moment. So yes, many of the great sages have said, if the only prayer you say is thank you, it will have been enough. So I'm not going to be greedy today. I'm going to thank you for your time with me today. I've thoroughly enjoyed my time with you. Thank you for the inspiration, Sangeeta. Thank you for your generosity. And thank you for really giving me your attention, for joining with me, for being proactive when I do these live streams. It makes a big difference. Thank you, Green Identity. Thank you very much. And we do co-create in this. My week is different. I hope that your week is uplifted in some way, that some ideas come to you that are proactively valuable, proactively useful for you in your life. So I love you guys. If I could give you a massive hug, I would be doing it. I hope you can feel it from my heart and my soul and my mind and my being. I love doing the live streams. Thank you for being with me. From the bottom and top of my heart, thank you very much, Lorien. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Anne. Thank you. Thank you. All of you are my friends and my family. All of you. Thank you.